big crowd here today. So, as you mentioned, Peter Marshall and Sylvia, Marek, and we're going to have like there are 5 parts to this presentation. And let me know if I'm not talking loud enough. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Right now? Okay. So we're going to start out with a little intro to how we got very interested in native shrubs. Then we're going to do a little bit of some of the nuts and bolts details that you might want to know if you're going to start planting native shrubs on landscape scale or backyard scale. And then the fun part is we're going to show our brochures that have 32 different native shrubs, and we're going to ask you guys to identify them. No, we're not going to do that. But this will help you. And if you looked at the brochures up there, Sam will send out a PDF so that you can print one off and have it for yourself. But it's going to be a little playful action during this identifying the 32 native shrubs. Then there's going to be a Q&A. So, Sylvia, anything else I should talk about before we start?
I should tell everyone how we got involved in this.
Okay, how did this start? So we were both working, we were on the Landscape Management Council for Holy Wisdom Monastery that has about 140 acres of restored land. And we were realizing that we were cutting down all of the honeysuckle and buckthorn, but then we just had bare space, or they just regrew again. So the question is, like, where are all the native shrubs in Holy Wisdom? Well, once you started looking, we probably found about 12 different native shrubs. So we were both learning about native shrubs at Holy Wisdom, and we started something called the Native Shrub Project there, which was educational with brochures like this and some workshops about learning about how to identify, how to plant, how to protect. And so that went on for a couple of years, and it's still going on now, but now we're kind of freelance. We're freelance naturalists, just roaming the countryside, looking for native shrubs.
We're checking out all these restorations to see what are you planting underneath the buckthorn, underneath the oak trees.
So a couple of days ago, I was at places sometimes called the Ice Age Complex or Cross Plains State Park, and I ran into a guy named Gary Werner, who was leads the volunteer restoration group over there at the Ice Age Trail. And I noticed they're clearing the south slope of the terminal moraine. It's wide open, but as I walked the crest of the moraine, I saw 5 different native shrubs. So I talked with Gary Werner about it and said, well, they're doing a pretty good job because they label them, they tag them, and try not to destroy them. But they wanted some help. So anyway, we're doing things like that and like this. So I know a lot of you have done a lot of restoration work, but shrubs tend to get ignored. So we're just trying to give back sort of equal weight to the trees, to the shrubs, to the forbs and grasses. All right, anything else, Sylvia, before we start? All right. So who knows what this shrub is?
It's witch hazel.
Only one person knew?
Okay.
All right, how about this one?
Hazelnut.
This is in an outcrop at Donald Park. It's a northern species. Anybody got it?
It's in the blueberry family.
It is in the blueberry family.
Huckleberry.
Black huckleberry. The whole talk is not about asking you questions. Okay. So we're going to start out with this is a question. What are shrubs? And just trying to keep it simple. They're woody plants, often with multiple stems, but not always. They're widespread in all natural landscapes and ecosystems. I was just talking with Sam about that. You know, they range from wet to very dry, from shady to full sun, and various levels of nutrients. They're in every landscape. And they're fast growing. Like if you plant a tree, you might have to wait decades. If you plant a shrub, it's going to be years to a decade, and they may last a couple of decades. So it's a faster growing process. Sylvia, do you want to add something or go on to the
Let's
next
go
one?
to the next one. Okay, why, was there a question? Oh. Well, they have co-evolved with insects and birds for many, many years, and by planting a native shrub, you are providing a bird feeder for our little friends. Many, many caterpillars and other types of insects live on the native shrubs, and the birds have, as I said, co-evolved with these insects, and so you're providing a good source of food for the birds. Also a nesting site for them and a place where they can roost. So if you love birds, that's one reason why to plant native shrubs. Often non-native shrubs will not have the kinds of insects that birds are used to eating. So that's the reason why I would plant them. Oh, and they're beautiful all year round. Oh my goodness. If we could talk about all 32 shrubs, we could tell you why we're attracted to them. Fall color, the fruit, the shape, etc., etc. And usually native shrubs don't really require fertilizer or any type of pesticides. And we were going to talk more about how you care for those plants and fit.
All right, I'm going to go on to the next. I'm going the wrong way. Okay, landscaping with native shrubs. So, you know what a shrub is, you know what native is, you know why it's a good thing to plant native. Then, then you have to make a decision. If you have landscape, how you're going to spread the shrubs. If it's a yard, you might want sort of screening, or clusters, or thickets, or like accent plants. So there are a lot of things that go into how do you decide where you put your native shrubs. Do you want to have it more naturalized, or just as like ornamental, but also positive for the native birds and insects? So one way to think about it is borders and edges, masses, drifts, accents, understory, habitat. You can, so they're pretty inexpensive really compared to trees. You can buy them from seedlings for a couple bucks, up to balls and burlap that might be 50 or 60. So bare root, plugs, containers, ball and burlap. Bare root is really a great way to go. It's inexpensive. It just takes a couple more years before they really start growing. And there are a lot of places where you can get them. And if you get that brochure up there, there are links to nurseries and other resources. All right, Sylvia.
Yeah, you plant the little shrub, and it looks really nice and healthy, and over the winter especially, the rabbit comes along and browses the stems, and the deer also. So there are ways to protect those things, but honestly, those critters really do cause a great deal of damage to shrubs, but you can protect them by putting fences around them. That's probably the best way to do that. And Peter, you have a picture of it, don't you?
I do.
Yeah, Peter has a great way of protecting the shrubs in winter, but I've tried everything from soap bars hanging off of it, hair from the beauty shops, different types of sprays. It seems nothing works. Fencing is probably the best way, unless you have ideas of how to do it. So be prepared for that. You know what? Shrubs are pretty resilient. The rabbit will browse it down, the deer will chew off the tops, but they just keep growing. They'll send up another sucker, another shoot, and they'll branch out. So you might lose the shape or the form of it, but they're not going to, unless they browse it way to the ground, they'll usually come back. So that's good about shrubs.
I want to mention another aspect of this. So in the pre-colonizing days, there were about 20 or 30% of the prairies had shrubs in terms of the cover. This is from
Curtis?
Curtis, yes,
Yes.
okay. So that, if these shrubs can live in prairies in natural times, that means they're very good at regenerating after fire. So you don't really have to worry too much. I mean, you can protect them or you can let it burn through and they'll usually come back. Okay, another fact. So I bet all of you have tried a lot of different ways to protect your plants from rabbits and deer and voles and stuff like this. This is my current favorite way to do it because you can get this plastic netting and you can use it year after year. You just use zip ties. At the end of the year, put them flat, you roll them up, you tie them up, and then they're ready for next year. But there are lots of ways to do it. I'm going to go back to planting native shrubs. So in general, fall and spring are best because it's cooler and usually moister. And basically it's just so simple. Dig a little hole. You don't need to put fertilizer in. Sometimes it does help to put water if it's dry, but no special soil. And usually you don't have to water at all after the first year. In the first year, if it's really dry, it would be helpful to water periodically. Okay, we did that one. Oh, well, we're already to the first brochure. Okay, so Sylvia, so the way we're going to do this is
We're going to play a
you
game.
and I are going to choose one each, and we'll talk a little bit about it. And then we're going to ask one of you to choose one, and we'll talk about it. So I'm just going to read the names if you maybe can't see them. And the first two shrub brochures are shrubs that are very commonly seen in wildlands in Dane County. So let's start, we go on the top and then the bottom. Gray dogwood, black elderberry, hazelnut, ninebark, red dogwood or osier dogwood, nannyberry, witch hazel, and chokeberry. Okay, Sylvia, which one would you like to do?
I love them all, but I'm going to talk about hazelnut. I like hazelnut for many reasons because it's the very first shrub, native shrub that blooms in the first shrub of the year to bloom. And how many of you know what it looks like when it's in bloom? Okay, for those of you who don't know, here's this shrub growing with all sorts of little suckers and branches. And there are these brown little earthworm-like catkins hanging off of the tree. Now when it's cold, they're stiff. But when it starts to warm up, maybe like March 6th is usually when I look for that catkin, that little brown earthworm. It starts to expand and wiggle in the wind, and the pollen is released in yellow puffs, and you can see at the very top of that thing on the left-hand side is a little tiny red thread-like flower. That's the female flower, and the pollen goes into that little red flower, and it's pollinated by the wind, and then later it'll grow a nutlet. I like the touch, when the leaves come out, the leaves are kind of hairy or velvety or kind of soft. The stem has kind of stiff little hairs on it. What I really love about it is the fall color. If it's in the sun, it is gorgeous. From red oranges to almost purple blue, just beautiful. Maybe I should let you talk about one more.
All right, thank you, Sylvia. But I want to say something before I pick a shrub up there. So one of the things that we realized in this native shrub project is we, and generally most people, are just going to say, those bushes are just there. We're not worried about them. Let's get rid of them because most of them are invasive. But the cool thing that we have learned is if you get up close and personal, like, you know, this, these catkins, and it's like a couple of millimeter petals, you got to get up close. And you got to follow through the year. So these all come in sort of sequences. So You can look for the flowers. You can sometimes the leaves come out first. Look at the leaves too. The details are remarkable. And then the fruit. So get up and close and personal. Start looking for these and looking at the fruits, the flowers, and the leaves. And if you really, want to go all the way, you will learn to identify them in the winter by their buds. So, all right, Sylvia. So
Your turn, you pick.
I'm going to do it. Oops. No. Okay. So Sylvia picked the first flower of the year, hazelnut. I'm going to pick the last flower of the year, and that's witch hazel. So it blooms late October usually. And these blooms, they're yellow flowers. Where did they go, Sylvia? Oh, here. So they're yellow flowers with very long petals, like narrow petals. And they come out end of October usually. And it's out at the almost exact time that the nut from the previous year ripens. The flower comes out about the same time the nut, the fruit, ripens. And the cool thing about the nut ripening is the husk will break open in its own time, but it will shoot out a little black seed very fast. So don't get in the way of an exploding witch hazel nut. So they can do fine in shade. So Wilkie Gorge at Cross Plains State Park, there's a lot of them in the gorge. And you will see these around in some of the local natural areas. They can be 10 or 15 feet tall in the shade. If they're in the sun, they will have more flowers, more leaves, and more fruits. So, did I miss anything, Sylvia?
Well, no, I just add that
Oh, yeah.
the flowers are pollinated by little insects, little flies and things, and they're pollinated in the fall, and then the flower remains on the plant all winter long, and then in spring, it starts to grow the nutlet. So that's kind of unusual about something that's pollinated in the fall, it goes through the winter, and then throughout the summer, the nutlet grows, and in fall it explodes, and now it shoots little seeds, and there you go.
Okay, I'm going to ask now for a volunteer to ask us to talk about one of the other shrubs on this brochure. All right.
Elderberry, please.
Elderberry? All right. Sylvia, do you want to do it? Or you want me to do it?
This is Sanguinus canadensis. It's the elderberry that has black fruits. There's one that has red fruits, and that is not edible. That's a poisonous fruit, but birds love it. This one, it has a wonderful, big, flat, white flower that's so fragrant and beautiful. It's kind of a short-lived plant. It has lots of stems, beautiful red stems that the little purple fruits are on. You can eat the fruits, make jams out of them. My grandmother used to take the flour, dip it in flour and dip it in flour and egg and fry it and have elderberry fritters. So, but don't eat the red elderberry. Do you want to add to that?
Well, I'm just going to say the twig or the branch has pith inside. It's sort of like marshmallow in the side. And one of the elderberries has brown pith and one has white. I can't remember what.
I can't either.
Okay. Anyway.
Makes a good whistle.
Yeah. So.
Your question?
Well, how do they spread? They seem to come in clusters and spread out in clusters. Do they spread by rhizome?
The fruit drops and
The fruits,
birds or whatever, I think that's how they spread. No, I don't think they're rhizomatous.
Good question. Good answer. But we're going to move on to the second brochure. We'll have a Q&A at the end for all this variety of questions, but we want to make sure we at least get a sampling of each of the brochures. So we'll, not that way. All right. Who can identify these leaves? Sam? You want to?
Far left is an arrowwood.
Yep, arrowwood.
In the middle is the bush honeysuckle.
Lonicera, Diveria lonicera.
Diarrhea, yeah, correct. And then the far right is hazelnut.
You are very good at this.
Yeah, you
We're gonna hire you. All right, thanks, Sam.
I was just gonna say, things to notice when you're, well, there's so much about shrubs, but notice the teeth on the leaves. Some of them are just one tooth, and some have double tooth teeth, and some have single teeth. And
This is
the
a-
veining and all of that, it's
Right.
all things you wanna pay attention to.
Right, so this goes back to look at the details, compare the leaves. Individuals are different, but you can see patterns. And Sam, way in the back of the room, I think he's a ringer, but he was able to identify those. Now, this is the second brochure, so I'm just gonna, well, that's a third. There we go, second. So I'm gonna tell you all the names, and then again, we'll do a couple more in detail. Pagoda dogwood, red elderberry, cranberry viburnum, Juneberry, sometimes called serviceberry, silky dogwood, smooth sumac, arrowwood, it's a viburnum, and wild plum. Let's see, do I get to go first this time?
Sure.
Do I know what you're going to pick? Everyone.
Maybe not, maybe I'll
I
change
don't,
my
I
mind.
forgot. Okay, let's see. Juneberry, or serviceberry up on that corner. So, guess what time of year the flowers come out?
May.
What month?
June. Early spring.
Oh, the,
May. June. No, early spring.
no, it's like the flowers come out in May and then the berries come out in June, more or less. But the flowers are definitely before the berries. So flowers, they have white petals and they're also very long and thin and they're just kind of wispy. If you're walking through the woods in the spring, it's pretty easy to see these if they're around because they're also a very early shrub flower. And then the berries, they sort of look a little bit like blueberries. They have a belly button. And they're about the size of a large blueberry, but they're red or dark red or sort of purplish. And they're not as flavorful as blueberries and cranberries. But they are pretty. They're still sweet and delicious, and you can make pies and jam. Yeah. If the birds don't get them first. Right. I've seen some of these, they're cultivars of this that are widely used in landscaping around here. And some of them have abundant flowering and fruiting. So those are on the street somewhere. So it can be a pretty tall tree. Like there's several species that live in this area. The one you see the most is near outcrops, and it's called lavis, and it can be 30 or 40 feet tall. But they can also be multi-stemmed, shorter trees or bushes. Shrubs. Sylvia, what are they like in the spring? I mean in fall.
Oh, I like
I
the
think
fall color.
They're reddish.
They can be really pretty in the fall, if they're in the sun.
Yeah.
And some serviceberry will probably never turn red. It just depends on their genes, I guess. But if they're in the sun, it'll be red. Good. Is it my turn?
Yes, it's your turn.
My turn, okay, good. The pagoda dogwood. I like that one a lot. It's a shrub that has tiered horizontal branching, and then the top of it is horizontal also. Often the tiered branches will kind of tip up at the end, so it kind of looks very Japanese-like. This is also called alternate leaf dogwood. Most of the dogwoods are opposite branched, but this one has alternate branches. Let's see. It has a flat top yellow flower in, I don't know what town is it, flat top flower. Then on these little red stems, the fruits are formed, and they're usually navy blue or blackish, and birds love the fruits. I have a pagoda in my yard, and it seems the minute those berries turn blue or black, birds have them. So it's a good bird food. What else? It can be a single tall shrub, or it can have many little suckers if the rabbits have chewed off and they sprout up into suckers. But it's lovely when it's just one single tree with those horizontal branches. I think maybe that's enough on that one.
Yeah, so I was gonna say like, it's one species of dogwood, but you can have it as a form of multiple stems, and it does tend to sucker, so it'll tend to be multiple stems, but if you cut those away and you want just one stem, it's gonna be a tree, and it could be 25 feet tall, and you can just leave it wild, or you could help the pagoda layering a little bit, which is fine.
It will grow in the shade.
Yeah.
It is an understory tree, but will do better in the sunlight. It also has a problem in that they often get like I forgot what it's called.
Golden
it's like
canker.
a golden canker, and the stem will turn kind of rust colored. And the best, if that happens to yours, and it probably will, cut it off and sterilize your tool with alcohol, and don't cut another one until you sterilize it, and get rid of that twig. And
Burn it or take it offsite and trash, and try to get one node back from where the disease is.
Beautiful fall color. There's something else I wanted to say about it. Beautiful fall color. Well, maybe that's enough.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask for someone in the audience to ask one for us. Warren?
Wild plum, and specifically making it behave, because it really spreads out and
That's what it does.
aggressively. So
That's what it does.
You want to start? And then I'll finish up.
Well, just that many of these shrubs have a tendency to sucker or have multiple stems, but plum especially loves to make big thickets. That's something you'll want to know. Research on these shrubs is what do they do in the wild? Some of them, not too much spreading, and others just go like crazy. Okay, your turn.
I'm going to start a little bit earlier. It has beautiful white flowers in the spring. I think they smell pretty good. And as the year goes on, fruits will ripen and they'll become ripe usually in August. And they can be abundant on these trees that do, as Warren mentioned, they form thickets. My story about this is a couple years ago I was walking in Pheasant Branch, didn't have a backpack or anything. I see some plums in the plum trees, so I think, oh, I'll pick one and see, I'll eat it. Oh, that's good. And then I start filling my pockets, my jacket pockets, and I filled all my pockets and then went home and processed them basically into jam. The fruit is amazing. It has a great aroma, but also there's a bitterness in the skin, and there's a sort of rich, aromatic sweetness in the flesh. It makes a wonderful jam, and you can fill your pockets and probably make 2 little jars. Okay, the other thing I want to say, so if you get one of our brochures, how getting started with native shrubs, we have categories in there. Shrubs for wet areas, shrubs for really dry areas. Low shrubs, and thicket-forming shrubs. So there are a number of these native plants that form thickets. That's just how they do it. So roots are connecting out. So this is a problem. Like it can be problematic. You can think about it as invasive, and you have to manage that. If you don't, like if you have plenty of land, there's no problem with letting the plum thicket grow as big as you want. If you have a smaller yard, you're just going to have to decide how big a thicket you want and just clip off the rest of them. So management in order to keep it from overexpanding.
well, even having a prairie area, they tend to move out pretty good. And does fire beat them back if you have a good fire against it, or?
I don't think that would kill them.
Well,
It
so-
depends.
It depends.
Okay, it depends. Right, so you might have
If
to.
you got a really, really hot fire,
Yeah.
I see
Yeah.
So,
So it's one of those things that you're gonna have to keep looking at and managing. And so fire, clipping, you know, you could use herbicide too, but it's one thing that you have to manage if you have a smaller area. So I'm gonna read that list that we were considering as thicket forming: gray dogwood, nannyberry, smooth, and what's the other one? Staghorn. Sumac, wild plum, prickly ash, bladdernut, speckled alder, sand cherry, and snowberry. So those are ones that tend to make thickets, and you have to control them if you don't have enough space. All right. Okay, so I think we're going to go to the next one because we did 3 on this one. I think there's a little quiz here. Let's rule Sam out of this one and let somebody else do it. What?
We didn't do this one yet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is where we are. Could we do this? Oh, yeah. So this is,
Here, next slide. There you go.
okay. Who knows what these flowers are? All right. How about this one on the left? Yes. How about the one in the middle? How did you know that? Who said wahoo? Okay. Not very many people know about that. And on the left, on the right?
Dyer Villa.
Right. Diarvilla, Lanicera, Lowbush.
Can you repeat those 3? We can't hear that.
Okay. So this is serviceberry. This one is called Eastern Wahoo, or it's a euonymus is the genus. What's the genus?
Atropurpurea,
Atropurpurea.
not a
We're
label.
I'll talk about that. And this one is a low bush honeysuckle called Diarvilla lanicera.
Is
All right.
your wahoo the native?
I believe so.
Not the
I
burning
didn't
bush.
quite-
So burning
It's
bush
not-
is also-
it's not-
This is also called burning bush, but this is the native one. And the burning bush,
How about if I talk about it?
well, okay, that would be.
Unless you want to.
Go for it.
Okay, so we're already on the topic of
Yeah.
wahoo. Where is it? There it is. So it's rare. I've never seen it in the wild. Sylvia has a friend who had a farmstead in
Grant County.
Grant County, where it grew a while.
A friend had it growing along a stream, and we took cuttings, and it's now, many of us have it in their yards.
Has anybody seen wahoo growing in the wild? Okay. Johnson Nursery is carrying it. So I think that is a shrub that's really worthwhile bringing into the consciousness of people. So it is, it can grow pretty tall. I've never seen one over 5 or 6 feet. On the left, these are the flowers. So they're like variations of red, purple, and pink. They're dramatic. They're pretty small. And leaves, opposite egg-shaped, pointed. And then the fruit in the fall. I took that picture in December. So I think the fruit, ripened maybe in October or November, but stayed on the shrub. And it looks like Christmas ornaments hanging from a tree. Those are a little bit bigger. And what about its foliage in the winter or in the fall?
Beautiful red.
Red foliage.
My
So-
sister has one growing in the sunlight, and it started out as a single stem, and the deer kept browsing, and now it has quite a few tall, beautiful red, bright red foliage, and these all winter long, these beautiful little red seed pods are dangling like Christmas decorations.
So this would be a
Pretty.
really great accent shrub to highlight a specialty.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to turn it over to you for whatever you're going to do.
Oh, my turn. Winterberry. That's our native holly, and it's deciduous. What I like about it, it's not an easy plant to get started, and you have to have a male a male that produces male flowers, and a plant that produces female flowers. They are usually, they have many stems. They do sucker, and they do form multiple trunks. They are slow growing. And they have tiny little flowers. Both the female, tiny little flower, and the male is a tiny little flower. It's kind of hard to tell which is which, but the ones
Johnson's
that are
Nursery
pink-
will send, will already sex them.
Yeah,
you
so
can
make
go
sure
to
you
Johnson
get
Nursery,
two
male,
if
female.
you get winterberry. And after the flowers are pollinated, they produce these beautiful shiny red fruits. And they're usually in little clusters along the stem, the axis of the stem. And they persist all winter long unless the birds eat them. And of course the birds do like them. I've seen bluebirds feast on them. My friend has them in his yard, and the turkeys eat them, and cedar waxwings and so forth. So winterberry is a beautiful shrub. I think all through the season, but especially in the winter, because it's really a beautiful thing during the winter. And the fruit usually lasts, well, until February, unless the birds eat them. I want to go back and just mention that hazelnut, for instance, has over 100 different caterpillars that need that tree, native caterpillars that feast on that tree, so a good source for birds. If we go to dogwood, about 95 caterpillars have been found on that shrub. And so again, these are all good things for birds. I could go on and on, but I better
All right,
stop.
I'll pull you off the stage. I'm calling an audible here because I want to talk about one of the shrubs before I ask for a volunteer from the audience. So this is a shrub that has a bad reputation. Like everybody says, kill it, get rid of it. It's dangerous. It spreads. It's got thorns. Some people know what I'm talking about. Okay. My wish is that you will look at it closely and learn to love it, because I've very, very rarely seen it get out of control. So planting one in my yard, and so like you have to manage some of these things. But the flowers are beautiful. They're dangly. Oops. They're yellow flowers. No, this one.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a branch where they're coming out everywhere. So that's the flowers beautiful. The thorns, you don't want to get touched by thorns. But then in late August, early September, the fruits come out. And some people know about this fruit, but like it's a international culinary condiment spice called Szechuan peppercorn. So same genus in China as what we have here. It's the only citrus family in North America. Did I lose it again?
Why don't you put your thing down?
That's a good idea. There we go. I'll keep my finger moving. So anyway, if you go out into the woods, they're oftentimes on edges of fields where they get sun, and that's going to help them have flowers and fruits. So has anybody ever put one of these things in your mouth and bitten down on it, chewed it? What happens?
It kind of goes numb.
Your mouth goes numb.
Yeah.
And the more of them you put in, the number it gets, and the longer it takes for it to go away. But if you titrate it, it's kind of an interesting experience because it's a floral, citrusly smell, and it makes your mouth numb for a couple of minutes. You can put it in a pepper grinder. You can harvest them. I do this a lot. Harvest them and then put it in a pepper grinder. Or you can go to the store and get it from China. So, what? Go ahead. I might. Go ahead. Where are you going?
Well, that shrub is very important for the giant yellow swallowtail butterfly because their caterpillar feeds on the leaves. So for that reason, it's a good thing.
All right, well, we'll go out on a happy, positive note.
Because
I agree with you, Sylvia. All right, so I think we haven't had a volunteer ask us about a shrub on this. Anyone Yes.
How about a bladder nut?
Oh, bladder nut, good. You want to talk about it?
I like that, yeah. It's, it can get pretty tall, it spreads like crazy. It has beautiful.
No thorns.
No, it's very good. Little white bell-like flowers that bloom before the leaves come out. I don't remember the time, but the flowers, then the leaves come out, and the leaves kind of resemble poison ivy, a little bit. They're three little leaflets. It can get quite tall. It suckers like crazy. Rabbits love it. Deer love it. I had one bladder nut in my yard that grew very big. It produced those beautiful flowers. Then it produced these little pods that have usually two little brown seeds in it. If you pick those pods off and fall and shake them, it sounds like a little rattle. So those pods go all over the yard and make new little plants. The stem is often greenish. It's not a really common shrub that you see in woodlands and such, but it is native. It's more of a southern Wisconsin shrub, I believe. What else can you say?
Well, I'm going to say, if you want to see them, Owen Park, Conservatory Park in Madison on the west side, there's a big thicket, like very close to the drive or to the parking lot, that just kind of spreads, and they manage it. The other place I've seen it is, you have it? Okay.
Blue Mountain Park,
What?
Blue Mountain State Park,
Okay.
Weeping Rocks Trail.
I was going to say that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not on the trail. You get to the bottom, and then
Yeah,
when you go up.
Well, no, along the trail you can find it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know it's there. Anywhere else? Anybody else seen bladder nut?
Gibraltar Rock.
Oh, really?
Near Lodi, there's some bladder nut right on
Okay.
top of it.
Yeah, it's kind of rare. So, like, you can have, a scavenger hunt about your favorite shrubs.
And I think it tolerates shade.
Oh, yeah. All right. I think we're ready to go to the fourth brochure, but probably a little quiz, not that one. All right. Who wants to do the first one on the left with the red? Are you stumped?
Is that the Wahoo?
No. No.
Prickly ash?
Prickly ash. Everybody's favorite. How about the next one in the middle? Hazelnut, and the last one? What? Narrowwood. Okay, now we're on the fourth brochure. This we just finished last year. And so I'm going to ask you to think about like what is similar between all of these shrubs. And at the end, I'll ask you. But I'm going to go through the names. So sweet fern, New Jersey tea, running serviceberry, western sand cherry, leatherwood, lead plant, snowberry, and shrubby St. John's wort. All right, Sylvia, you're on.
Oh, I love them all. But I'll talk about shrubby St. John's wort. It's usually a low-growing shrub, lots of stems, makes a nice kind of a little ball-like shrub. It would make a nice hedge or specimen, but it's a pollinator magnet. The bees just love it. And in summer it produces about a 2-inch flower, 5 petals, with hundreds, well not really, but many, many stamens in the center. There's no nectar, but all kinds of pollen, and it'll just be covered with bees. It's wonderful. It's just great. It tends to produce a lot of seeds. The seed pod is a little brown, narrow pod, and lots of little seeds inside of that. Pods split open, and you'll get all kinds of little shrubs all over. After that, they spread very easily. What else can I tell you about that? The bark is interesting in winter. It's kind of, as it gets older, it's kind of, it peels and sort of flakes off, but it's very lovely. And it has a nice shape. It likes sun, of course. I don't think it's too particular about soils, but try it. It's a great dish.
I think it's very adaptable to many ecosystems and like everything.
I have seen it get quite tall too, but usually there's hybrids.
Right.
But Johnson's has it, so.
Yeah. All right, I'm having a hard time making a decision. I'm going to go with leatherwood. So leatherwood is an unusual, it's actually a more northern species. And it actually looks like a tree that's small with branching like this. And it's called leatherwood because the wood has very little lignum, so you can bend branches. If you go too far, you can break them, but they're very bendable. It is an understory tree of sort of rich soil, oftentimes in maple basswood forest up north. It has beautiful small little yellow flowers in the spring. And the fruit is, it's a little odd, but that's the fruit. And so you can see these if you want to go to the Arboretum in the area by Skunk Cabbage Bridge. There's some hemlocks there, and also some leatherwood. All right, so one more person to stump Sylvia and myself, or ask us to talk about another shrub.
Snowberry.
Snowberry. All right, I don't know as much about snowberry as you do, so why don't you start off?
Oh, it spreads like crazy. It's a shrub that gets maybe, I've seen it about this high, 2 to 3 feet high. Beautiful blue-green leaves, has a little tiny flower that's, it can be pinkish, whitish, and then it will produce a white fruit. Supposedly, deer don't like this plant, but that's not true. They like it too. But I have had some in my yard, and they didn't bother it for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden they decided, this is good, we'll browse it down. But no matter, they can browse it to the ground, and it'll just keep shooting up all over the place. So it does spread a lot by underground runners. What else can I say about it? It's a lovely little plant.
Yeah, I've never seen it in the wild. Have you seen it in the wild?
I have seen it in the wild, but
Where?
it's not very common. It's like waffle like this.
A lot of it in the Dakotas.
Okay, further west. Yeah.
Right, there's 2 kinds of snowberries too, and that was probably there's another one, I don't know what it is, but.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty resilient shrub. You're talking about being grazed down. One of our friends cuts it down every year, so it's fresh.
His lawn, and so he's pulling it out of it, but
Yeah.
it makes a nice green
Could be
area.
a nice border.
Mhm.
Yeah. I haven't planted it, but I think I'm going to. It's just another specimen that is very different, and you don't see
cut
very
it
much.
down in the fall, and then or whenever, and then in the spring it'll shoot up again. And it's a nice little plant. It's kind of like a spirea in a way.
Yeah.
Not really, it doesn't do that.
Many stems that kind of come out like this. All right, we've come to the end of our formal program. We're going to open it up for questions and hopefully answers. Anybody have any questions?
We've got 2.
Yes.
Can hazelnut, you need 2 to approve?
No.
Okay. And which hazel? Can it be rooted from cuttings?
I think that would be hard. You ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Because you worked at
Yeah,
a big...
I think that, if you know how to do that, but
So if you use a rooting compound,
it's not like
then
red
you put the right
dog
kind
or
of
something like that where you
medium.
stick it in the ground,
Yeah,
I've seen
I tried that last year, it didn't work, that's what I was wondering.
I don't think that's.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Any other?
Who invents all these names for these plants? What's the basis for that?
I'm not surprised you're asking this question, just to cause trouble, Steve.
Yeah.
Good trouble. I don't know. Sylvia, who makes up all these names?
The common names or the Latin?
Either one.
The Latin names, taxonomists, they have their thing, and they keep changing them every year.
Yeah.
Common names, well, it's usually some person decided that Amelanker, the serviceberry, which is also called shadbush, Juneberry, they give common names because of something they associate the blooming or the fruit-bearing time is associated with something in nature. So shadbush out east, the shadbush were running at the time that serviceberry bloomed. Do you all know that story? And then people die in the wintertime, way back when, and so they had to wait till the spring would thaw out the ground to bury the people, and so they would call it serviceberry because They would bury the people when the serviceberry didn't. So common names, they come from who knows what, you know? Did that answer your question? Or?
Yeah, I think
So I'm
so.
gonna take a stab at it, because that is a really complicated story.
Well, it is.
But if we go up here, you know, leather, wood, it's very obvious that it bends. Sweet fern, it's not a fern, but it has this sweet, there's this aroma that's magical, really, and it looks sort of like a fern, the leaves. New Jersey tea, you know what the story is for?
Well,
New
when
Jersey
the
tea.
Boston Tea Party occurred and the colonists picked that leaf and made tea out of it, so it became New Jersey tea.
And running serviceberry, you already talked about serviceberry. Sand cherry, I mean, the prunus is a big genus, but this is more to the western side of Wisconsin in sandy ground. It's sort of not too high. I heard from somebody that it used to be at Black Earth Redmond Prairie. Rob, do you know if that was anybody? Yeah,
Isn't
somebody
it
told me.
Spring Green Preserve?
Oh, Spring Green Preserve, have you seen it there? Okay. Let's see, lead plant, I think there was, the lead miners used that, thought that there was lead under those plants, I think. Snowberry, we talked about that. I don't know how St. John's wort got its name.
Well, supposedly on the eve of St. John's Day, which is June 24th, the St. John's wort, the petals of them, if you pinch them, they bleed. I don't know if this particular one does, but plants in the St. John's wort family are supposedly, you pinch the petals, they bleed like the day that John the Baptist was beheaded. Is that the right story you're about?
There are some stories.
So stories.
Let's see, the lady in the green shirt and then you in the black shirt.
I have New Jersey tea that I planted a few years ago, and I just love it because it's right up by the house, so it stays pretty low. Can that be pruned back, and when should I do that?
I'm pretty sure.
I didn't-
Can you prune back New Jersey tea?
It gets burned down in fires all the
But-
time.
Right, it's a prairie plant, so it will
Yes.
come back.
Right, I do have it like right next to my house, which I have all native plants, but I really like the ones that are well behaved right next to the front door. So,
How big is your New Jersey tea? How
I'm sorry?
tall is it?
it's probably, it gets about 3 feet at its highest.
Yeah.
And it's been there 3 years.
So I'm going to give you the prize for identifying the commonality between all these shrubs. They're shorter
They're low,
than usual. And just, you know, on the New Jersey tea, people haven't dealt with that. It has abundant flowers that bees really love. So they smell good, they look good, and you get a lot of pollinators. So plant more New Jersey tea. In the sun, it should be in the full sun,
Yeah.
really. Yes.
So other than the lead plant and the New Jersey tea, which ones are the most fire resistant? Do we know?
New Jersey tea and lead plant, which are the most fire
Wait.
resistant?
Well, not between those other, I know those two are fire resistant. I mean, they don't get killed, but are there other ones that?
Well, so hazelnut, these are common in the prairie. So hazel, gray dogwood, so plants that live in prairies that get burned historically. So hazel is going to come back all the time. Gray dogwood is too. What other? Anybody?
Prairie willow.
Sumac, yeah, those got underground root systems.
Prairie crab apple.
Or fire crab, yeah.
Fire crab apples? Yeah. Okay, that's.
So they're all top killed, is that what you're telling us? They'll top kill?
Yeah, but then it'll come back.
And then they come back after that. And that's all the shrubs that will all pretty much?
No, I don't.
Or let me ask you this way, are any more fire resistant than others?
I think the ones I mentioned, hazel, we can burn through that. Oftentimes if it's a big multi-stem, the center is not going to get burned out, but the peripheral stems will.
Right.
And gray dogwood, it's going to come back anything you do.
How about elderberry?
I don't think elderberry will do well, because it's a short-lived species anyway.
We have a lot of that in our woods, and we burn our woods, and I'm
Oh.
just like, I don't know if we should burn around the elderberry.
Anybody else have an idea about elderberry?
I think it comes back.
It comes
Yeah.
back.
Okay, yeah.
It's- Especially the red berry.
All right, any other questions? Yes?
Besides the walking you mentioned, are there other rare shrubs that we should consider trying to find a place for that are also available to be able to use in terms of, you know, providing more value to birds and insects?
Yeah. Well, I put sand cherry, western sand cherry on it. And that's actually because Johnson Nursery sold that. So, and it's a shorter shrub for sandy soil. So that's what I'm looking for too, like unusual ones that have kind of disappeared more or less. Let's see. I mean, we never see snowberry, and I'm not sure, it's probably not prevalent very much in Wisconsin.
Not in the
Sweet fern is more to the north. Leatherwood, you'd have to go up to the northern woods, but if you go up to the northern woods and maple basswood forest, I see a lot of that there. Anybody else have thoughts about ones that we should try to bring forward a little bit?
Well, the native cranberry viburnum, which I love them.
Okay, so.
But we didn't put that in.
Well, yeah, so cranberry viburnum, almost all of them that you see here is European. And you can tell, the only difference is there's glands at the base of the leaf, one that's very microscopic. So the native one has a cup shape, and the European one has a dome shape. But otherwise they look basically the same. The other way you can tell is if the cranberry viburnum berries are on the shrubs at the end of the winter, they're probably the non-native one. Because the native one really does taste a lot like cranberry, but the non-native one is pretty bitter.
So it's a good, kind of a rare shrub to put in your
Sure.
I would say.
Although we're having problems with viburnum leaf
Oh,
beetles.
the viburnum leaf beetle, how many have heard of that? Yeah. Yeah. So
It's probably cyclic though.
probably, but the way that I've heard what you should do is the little grub lives in the ground. It comes out, the little caterpillar feeds on the leaf. It makes all those little lace-like cuttings in the leaves. And then it pupates and goes down to the ground. Then it comes back up. So after the leaf has been eaten and that little caterpillar or the pupa's down there, supposedly you can cut off the twig because the female lays her eggs in the tip. Did I get that right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so if you cut the tip off, supposedly that'll get rid of the new brood. And there's 2 a year. There's the one that comes up in the spring and then one during the summer or fall. So the other thing is to cut the viburnum down and it'll come up again. But they're attacking arrowwood or any viburnum. But nannyberry so far doesn't seem to be effective.
Is it a native insect?
No, it's not. It's an invasive.
How about the 2-spotted leaf jumper?
Oh, he's wonderful.
That's a
No
nannyberry.
problem.
Anybody know this bug?
Well, it's a little
It doesn't
tiny-
hurt the plant.
No, it's
It's
a little
native.
native insect. It's a 2-spotted tree hopper, Echinophytota. Little brown thorn-like plant with 2 little yellow spots on it. And in fall, if you look on a nannyberry or they can be on bittersweet or other plants, you'll see these little thorn-like hoppers on the branch. And what she's doing is laying eggs on the branch, and then she covers it with like white marshmallow, covering with white marshmallow. And the little eggs remain there over winter, and they come out in spring and they hop to a tree hopper hops to another plant. But during the winter, chickadees are often seen pecking at that marshmallow-like stuff. They leave their eggs out of it. But it's a neat little insect. And I'm
Get your
sure-
magnifying glass out. Find the
Look for
nannyberry.
the little thorns, but they're not. They're moving.
How are we doing with time? We're in Q&A, so if people have more questions, we can answer them. Or
I have some hazelnut that I'd like to move from our garden area out to the, further out. What's the best way to?
how big is it?
It's a pretty big bush and there's a lot of things coming up underneath, so.
You know, if it were me, I'd just dig all around and get as much as you can.
Yeah, I think it's going to be easy,
Yeah.
especially
Nothing
if
to
it's
take some of the
moist.
fence suckers, you know.
Yeah.
And split them into smaller clumps.
I don't think the roots are too deep.
You, sir?
We're trying to repair or restore a fence row, hedge row. And unfortunately, it's got some really nice, large black walnuts in it.
Yeah.
And with the allelopathic characteristic of the black walnut, what shrubs should we not try because they won't make it? And what's known about what will survive underneath black walnuts?
I haven't thought about that. Sylvia, do you have anything
Well,
about that?
I think that they produce juggling, and that's what kills off plants in the tomato family, especially. I don't think it affects wildflowers, and I don't think it would affect shrubs, but I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure.
So
If you
give
were
it a
to
try.
put a shrub under there, I'd put something like a gray dogwood or something that is a tougher shrub rather than one of these more delicate ones. I don't know the real answer to that, though.
I don't know if I missed it, but did you talk about nine bark?
No?
Is that a native?
Yes?
Okay. But you don't like it?
No, well, no. It's a great, and I think that is relatively deer resistant, as
Okay.
my observation.
Yeah.
And it's unusual flowers, and the flower, the fruiting body stays all through winter, so it's kind of a little interest. And I've seen a lot of those at Cross Plains State Park. Anybody else know where a lot of...
Owen Park.
What?
Owen Park.
Owen Park, yeah, so 9 bark, Mark. It's very durable, you can trim it back, it can be pretty big, and just trim it back.
And nurseries often sell cultivars, purple-leaved ones and all of that. If you get those kind, often some of the cultivars will not attract the native insects because there's something in it that they don't like, and so you want to make sure you get the true native.
Go native.
Yeah.
We have another question over?
Well,
Yeah,
that's,
yes.
that's what I was gonna ask
Yes.
about, is if you mistakenly get the cultivars, you know, it's hard to make sure I have the correct Latin name with me when I go buy it.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if I come home with the cultivar, that's what I'm losing. I'm losing insect.
Could be, I mean, you know, there's always exceptions, but yeah.
It's variable and less likely to be compatible, fully compatible compared to natives that have grown up here for thousands or hundreds of thousands of years with the insects and the birds.
Yeah.
So your assignment is when you go shopping for shrubs, first study our brochures or books or the online or whatever, you know, take a look at the buds, the bark, the leaves, whatever, all of that stuff, and then look at the name and make sure that you're getting a native.
So Sam's going to, some of you might have gotten this little handout, getting started with Wisconsin native shrubs. And on the shrub brochures, there's a link to, Sam, what's that link? It's to the DNR, Wisconsin DNR native plant nurseries. So they have a list, DNR, they keep it updated for all the nurseries around the state that carry native species. Also, this has links for purchasing from nearby nurseries, native shrubs, and also online. Did that help?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Can St. John's Wort be divided?
Pardon me?
Can St. John's Wort be divided?
Yes.
How do you do it?
Split it.
Just shovel it and dig it out?
Did you say split
Yeah.
it?
Yes, split it.
I don't think so. It's kind of one.
St. John's Wort. Okay.
Did you split it?
I'm trying to remember if I did.
Maybe you did.
Okay,
But
I don't know, but it's a very,
it's
vigorous
spreads by
plant.
seed,
It's-
so I think you could try it. But the ones I'm familiar with are sort of like one individual shrub, and then there's lots of little babies all around it. So pick those little babies, plant them real fast.
Oh, okay.
But
Let us know when you figure it out.
it's just fun to experiment with these things, you know.
All right, should I do the last quiz? Okay, here we go. There's one after this, but, so who wants to take a guess at this leaf? No, I'm trying to remember.
Is that a New Jersey tea?
What?
Is that a New Jersey tea?
Otherwood.
Looks like it's
Snowberry.
snowberry.
Okay. Not one that I know very well. How about the flowers in the middle?
Leatherberry?
Leatherberry?
What?
Leatherberry?
Say it again.
Leatherberry?
Leatherwood?
Leatherwood?
Yes.
Yep.
Good, Steve. How about the strange, like from outer space kind of thing on the far right?
That's New Jersey.
What?
New Jersey tea.
Yes, of course. All right, so now we have one more quiz that is a structure, not a shrub, but it's in a natural woodland. Not that. Okay. Where's this?
Abrams Woods.
All right.
Good. Who said that? Okay, here's the winner. We don't have a prize though. So thank you all very much for being here and asking great questions. So thank you very much.